we may have already been asked by the individual people, but not everybody asked the same questions, and we didn't want to get the answer 20 times, the same answer. So this is a chance to get to know each other on a bigger level, essentially, and we'll open up and answer virtually any question that you have that will probably suit the group as well.
How did you two meet?
Your version or mine?
Which one, how we met?
Yeah, the how we met story.
We were both presenting at the same conference, not knowing each other. And the story that I was going on was the new biology and how it works, and I was so excited to tell everybody about how genes and molecules and everything work, and then how the mind causes all this. And after every time when my lecture is over, nobody asked me a question about the science. Always the first question was, how do I change those beliefs you're talking about? And then I go, that's not my, I don't do that. And that was like the wind gets knocked out of me. And the same at this conference, and I'm walking back to my seat, and I hear the voice, I didn't see him, I'm going to show you how to change those beliefs that Bruce is talking about. And I thought, really?
You should have seen the look on his face. I'm on the stage looking right at him, and I had said something like, well, I want to thank Dr. Lipton for elucidating how it is we get those beliefs, and by the way, I'm going to show you how to change them. And he just came to a skidding stop just before he was going to leave the room.
I thought, to tell you the truth, I thought the guy was pretty ballsy to say he's going to change somebody's beliefs in this room in the next number of minutes. I thought, really? And he did. And I'll never, ever forget that moment where, yeah, I quickly, if I can, he asked who wants to change a belief, and all the hands go up, and then there's one hand that I saw and went up and down, and she was going like that, and he saw her, and he said, okay, you tell us your name and what you would like to change. And everybody looked at her, and she just sat there and glowed red. You could have lit up the room. She was red. She couldn't say her name. She couldn't say a word, a syllable, nothing. Rob had to leave, go out in the audience, get side by side, talk to her. Guess what? She couldn't talk in public.
Fear of public speaking. She was in her terror. Might have been if you have a snake phobia,
right?
Be a bunch of snakes, and you can't really answer right.
She couldn't answer. Right. So I'll summarize this very quickly. The surprising PSYCH-k thing, which I saw for the first time, was interesting, but the most magical moment occurred when she was in the chair doing a balance, and he said, okay, she stands up, he puts his arm on her shoulder, turns her to the audience, and says, Pauline, would you like to tell the audience about your experience just now? He took his arm off of her shoulder, and this woman started talking, walking up and down the stage, talking about her life and all kinds of stuff, and Rob's sitting there going, Pauline, please sit down, you're using my lecture time. He took over the stage. And that all happened. Here's a woman, 10 minutes before, 15 minutes before, couldn't even open her mouth, and then 15 minutes later he had to ask her to please be quiet and sit down.
Big hooks, just pull her off the stage.
So that was my introduction, and then just to complete it is, my working with Rob allowed me to write my book, because my subconscious did not want me to write the book, because if I wrote the book, I would alienate all of my scientific colleagues, and I'd be alienated. And I had a subconscious belief that was protecting me by not letting me write the book. And then one of the balances is called the VAK, which you'll learn about. Again, we were together less than 20 minutes, I think, and I walked away, and I didn't realize, and here's, I'm talking a lot, I want to finish real fast. The idea was, how do you want this book written? And I said, because of the time and everything, I said, I want it to be fast, I want it to be easy, and I thought, and why not be fun? 20 minutes, I go on my life, whatever, a few months later, whatever, we finish the book, I finish it, I'm sitting at the dining room table, last page, second read through, it's going to go to the publisher, last page. I get down to the very end, I push the table, I go, wow, that was fast, and it was kind of easy, and it was kind of fun. And I realized in that time period, I programmed exactly how that book was to be written, never remembered it, not at all, until I heard myself say it again. And thought, oh my God, that's what the balance was.
Are you talking about this book?
And,
Truly terrific book.
thank you.
Well, it's still selling as a very popular book after what,
Great.
20 years or
12 years, 12 years.
12 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's universal truth. It's not, it doesn't go out of style. It's like all universal truths do not go out of style. They're just plain true. So when Bruce got to that point, and it was such a joy to see that happen, in the same interaction with him, his editor happened to be present.
Patricia King, yeah.
Yeah, and so I asked them both basically, what's your greatest concern about finishing this book, to get it done? Bruce's was basically, like he said, he'd be ostracized from his own peers, and he didn't want it to be a bestseller because then he would lose his life to it. He would be owned by the book. He's a very private man. We've known each other for many, many years, and he would rather live on a mountaintop.
Which I do.
Yeah, I would live on the mountaintop. I would live on the mountaintop next to him if I could, because we're not actually real public people. So both of us preferred our privacy, and so he thought he was going to lose it. Then I asked Patricia, what are you most afraid of if this book goes down? Because she's just basically organizing it, and it was all Bruce's work. She wasn't writing the book as a ghostwriter. She was editing the book because he's a biologist. He's not a writer. It wasn't then. It was his first shot. So she's in to help with that, to make it readable and easy to read. And she said, well, I'm most afraid that I can't find Bruce's voice. That's what she said, which means it's going to sound like my book, not his. And as an editor, she wanted to be sure it was Bruce's voice, so to speak, was doing it. She's just rearranging sentences and doing grammar stuff and all that for expression. And so that was her issue. So just like you're going to learn in this class, the balance we used actually was the new direction balance. That was the simplest one. You sit down and you configure for a crossover preference for those of you who already think it's PSYCH-k. Real simple thing to do. And both of them, that's what their subconscious minds chose. So that's what I facilitated. And her thing was, I want to find his voice. So all we did was, just like you're going to learn, you take what the current belief is. Oh, this is really difficult and it's going to be painful, and look at my history here and all that. You flip it to its opposite. It's fun and easy for me to do this, and then for Patricia, it was something on that order. I don't remember, it's too many years ago, but it was, I find Bruce's voice naturally and easily, or something like that. It doesn't matter the words, it matters the expression of it. So I did a balance with her, facilitated that. And then, like you said, I think it was about 3 months, they finished the book. And he'd been struggling for 15 years, he's trying to write this book. And so all of a sudden, it was fun and easy and real fun to do it. It was a nice thing to do. And she said, boy, I was so thrilled because I knew what was in that book had to be brilliant. And I wanted to see it in the public eye as well. And so we did it. We did it that way. You could have done exactly the same thing. After this class, you will know all you need to know to intervene in that way and help people change their consciousness in a way that changes their behaviors, thoughts, and therefore their lives. So I'm honored to have been able to do that. Bruce and I were working together at the time, and it was one of those afterthoughts with him. I'm just struggling with this book. It's so hard, blah, blah, blah. You'd think that subconscious mind might be blocking us. And I thought, I don't know, but we can sure find out. And all of you will be able to find out.
And that, for me, let me,
Yeah.
because I'm so excited about all of you.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, every one of you, those that are already trainers and facilitators, but all of you that haven't done this, by Monday, you could go forth and change the world, and it changes. And I love it because I have on my website, because of pressure, about 25 or so different belief modalities. And but when anybody asks me anything private, because when I said it publicly, people got pissed because I didn't mention theirs. This is the ideal process for changing your own life and for everybody else's life. And it's simple. It's down to the bottom line. It's as simple a process that anybody can do. And the beautiful part about it is the most powerful experience, most powerful. And so you don't see it yet, but as you start working with this, you'll start to see, because you work with each other, so that's already a good start. You're working with yourself and somebody's helping, that by the time you leave, you've been pretty much reprogramming your own life experiences. They're dramatic. Some of them are profoundly dramatic, where somebody's life can change in 15 minutes after you do the balance, and it's like profound. And so if you are part of that, That's the most amazing, wonderful take-home experience, life experience, to know how effective you are